Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. All the distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good evening. It is quite a pleasure and also honor for me to be here today at the English-speaking Union of Karachi. Actually, this is the second time for me to visit Karachi, but each time, definitely, I feel very vibrant atmosphere of economic activities and the people's life, and so I'm very pleased to be here. And as was introduced, I should confess that not only Pakistan but also this area, South Asia, is very first for me, and I have been posted to mainly West European countries, particularly to Russia and Soviet Union, Russia and the UK and Austria, and the only country of Asia where I had been posted was South Korea, but it's of course very different. But since I started my work here in Islamabad, one very important thing I noticed, that is that Pakistani people are very, very hospitable and friendly, and I really noticed that the image or perception which I had before I came here is not the sort of reflected the reality here. And I will tell you a bit later in my briefings, but this image I think is very important, and one of my very important missions as an ambassador to Pakistan is try best to let the Japanese people's mind or image change into the real one, which I saw with my own eyes. So let me say just a little bit about the Japan-Pakistan relationship as was required, but this is up to 540, isn't it? I think, yes. And the most difficult task for me right now is that I thought it should be about 40 minutes, but now it should be about 20 minutes. So I will pick up some of the elements which I was trying to explain to you about our relationship. So, これ自分でやらないといけない場合はどれをするの？エンターをするの？ Okay, as you see in the screen, we are now this year 2016 is 64 years of anniversary, and that is because, of course, in 1952 we established our diplomatic relationship. But what I do like to tell you in the beginning is that Japan and Pakistan, the distance is over 6,300 or 500 kilometers or something. But definitely there used to be and there is a very interesting, unique relationship between us. In Japan, even in Japan, very few people know, but the first country which started the export of cotton to Japan after the Second World War was Pakistan. And that was very important for us because after the war, Japan was very much devastated, as you know, and at that time, textile was one of the very important industries for us. But it was not so easy for us to get cotton from outside. And Pakistan was the first country which opened the export to Japan. That is something which is very, very important for us. And it also one of the first countries to which Japan started ODA to provide is Pakistan in 1954. That is under the program, what we call Colombo program. We started with the technical assistance, but since then we have been continuing our assistance to Pakistan. And also one of the biggest offices of Japanese trade houses in Karachi we had in 1950s and 60s. And Karachi was one of the most important cities for the Japanese business people at that time, particularly who were engaged with the trade. And first foreign country where Japanese automobile company made investment in 1958. That was Suzuki, as you probably know. Interestingly, the percentage of the Japanese cars which you see on the road in Japan, the percentage is 92%. 92% of the cars which are running on the road is Japanese car, but here 95% is Japanese car. So we are very much grateful for that, and we do like to continue this kind of cooperation with Pakistan. And this, what I said was more at the political or business level, but people-to-people relationship is also has been very warm. And just a couple of examples here. I'm sure somebody or larger part of the people here know already, but there was a person whose name was Tsuneo Hasegawa, who was a climber, and he was one of the famous climbers in Japan, and he was climbing the Uta Sara in 1991, and he was killed by landsliding, snowslide, and he loved very much Pakistani people, and after his death, his spouse, Madame Masami, following his will, built a memorial public school in Karimabad, because Tsuneo Hasegawa very much liked to support the children over there, and Masami was, his spouse was very much grateful for all the support when people were trying to find Tsuneo Hasegawa in winter. And Mineko Nishikori also, I think somebody already know, she was, I should say, also one of the lovers of Pakistan and Pakistani people, and she built again what they call a Mineko school in Hunza, Paso village, and Shun Imaizumi, who is now the head of the president of the Japan-Pakistan Friendship Association, and when I was in Japan before I came here, I was talking to him a lot, and he explained to me how he was grateful for all the help when he injured here in Pakistan. People very sincerely supported him. So those are just a couple of examples, but what I would like to say is there is definitely very beautiful stories among the people between our two countries. And I do believe that this is a very core or foundation or very important asset on which we can build good cooperation between our two countries. this is very rough sketch of bilateral history, but I don't think I have to tell too much about that. But one thing is clear as you see this. The last visit from Pakistan to Japan was, I mean, at the level of the president, was 2011 by the then President Zardari. And the last visit from Japan of the head of the state to Pakistan was 2005. So since 2005, there has not been visit from our side at the level of the Prime Minister, and from Pakistan since 2011 at the level of the President or Prime Minister, there has not been the official visit. So again, I should tell you that one of my most important mission is to promote more the high-level political contacts. However, apart from these official visits to the other country, we have definitely the contacts at the various levels. And the very recent one was taking place in New York, September this year. Actually, we had two meetings. One is between prime ministers, and the second one was between the both foreign ministers. And it was very, very rare that we had both foreign ministers meeting and prime ministers meeting at the same time, but that's what happened. And we, as an embassy here, asked Tokyo and here the government of Pakistan very much to let it happen. And other visits and meetings, as you see here. And at the level of the parliament as well, we have this parliamentary friendship group. And the last one was last February, when we received the group of Parliamentary Friendship League from National Assembly. And we do wish to continue this contacts at this level as well. And economic relationship, I just like to get into a bit details about this, because I think it's one of the very important one. If you look at the point 2, the trade, the last year's figure, the trade, I mean both export and import, was roughly $2 billion. And we export, I'm sure all of you already will know about this, but we export the vehicles, the vehicle parts, machinery and steels and so on, and we import from Pakistan textiles and textile articles and the chemical products and so on. But as you see, big gap. I mean, Pakistan is in the red. We export more than we import. So one of the very important things is we do wish that Pakistan's export will be increased much more, and we do know that the government of Pakistan has been taking several measures for promotion of exports, and I think it's important, and we are very much willing to support the export from Pakistan. I'm not talking about only our bilateral trade, but also from Pakistan to the world, the export. That should be promoted much more. And investment, for the last year, that's roughly 74 million US dollars, and that was more than doubled actually than the previous year, which was 2014. And we are very pleased to that. And here also last year Yamaha Motors invested, and this year Itochu Marubeni Steel came here, and so in that way not only automobiles but also other investments have been made to Pakistan, which very, very much welcome. And PJBF and the JBCCC, I don't think I have to explain to you about these organizations. But about the trade again, what is important, of course, is how your exports should be increased. And just let me tell you one thing. We are several times asked by Pakistan people about FTA between our two countries. And we have been, of course, studying very seriously in what way we can sort of more balance the trade between our two countries. And we have been asked a lot about FTA, and I should say that we have not yet reached the conclusion, official conclusion of what should be done. But at this point of time, if I may give you my personal sense, is that FTA, if we together with Pakistan get into the relationship of FTA, I'm not sure whether that is for the benefit of Pakistan or not, because if we conclude the FTA with Pakistan, what does it mean? It means we import probably more textiles from Pakistan, yes, definitely. However, we export at the same time more to Pakistan as well. Automobile, machineries and so on, because FTA is the measure to remove the tariffs across the items. Not only one or two, but basically all the items should be without tariffs. That is the FTA. So as far as we have structural deficit between two countries, I'm not sure whether FTA can work for one of the two countries. And we have been studying a lot about the previous examples. And with China, there are three countries which you have FTA: China and Sri Lanka and Malaysia. And to China, again, like with us, you have a huge deficit in the trade with China. And I'm sorry. And 2007 FTA was put into force, and at that time you had a deficit of $2.96 billion, and now 2015 you have a $6.22 billion in deficit, and of course the trade has been increased. However, at the same time, this deficit also has been increased. And Sri Lanka, Malaysia, it's more or less not so huge trade. So, I'm not turning down the idea of the FTA, but I think we have to be very careful for considering about the FTA. And what we are doing, what I personally believe is that the most important thing is for Pakistan to export more high-value products to the world, not only to Japan, but also to other countries as well. And for instance, if you talk about the textiles, most of the part of the export of Pakistan is clothing, linen, and towels, and more or less low value products. And what we do wish is is that Pakistan would export more high-value products like apparel. For instance, for Pakistan, the percentage of apparel out of all the exported textiles is about 30%. I think it should be much more increased. And so for this, we are willing to support. We already have been doing, dispatch some exports to TDAP for, let's say, for you to be able to produce more high-value products, and the training and training of the engineers and provision of machineries. Those are right now we're doing, but if there's anything more we can do, we are very much willing to talk, discuss with you. Excuse me, how? How? Space. Okay. And a bit back to the previous one, I'll be very brief, but development assistance, as you probably already know, the overall amount since 1954 is about 1,278 billion yen. That's roughly, depending on the exchange rate, nearly $13 billion altogether since 1954. And economic infrastructure, and second one, human security and the social infrastructure, that is what we believe very important. And we're making a lot of big efforts for this. But in terms of the percentage of the expenditure of ODA, about 70% was put for the infrastructure that are energy, power plants, and transport, and these ones. But social infrastructure and regional development support does not cost us too much, but for the balanced development of Pakistan, we believe it's very, very important. And there are several examples of our projects, and I'm sure you know all this, so I will omit this. And now I was talking about the trade, and then about investment. Whenever I talk to the Japanese business people here, I think that there are three major areas which they really wish to be improved. One is, of course, security, and I'm very much pleased, and I'm sure that the security situation here has been very much improved, particularly here in Karachi. Everybody says about this. However, there are sporadic, either low-level or middle-level intensity of attacks happened somewhere, not in the center, but within Pakistan, and this again contributes to making the bad image about Pakistan. So we do wish that continued and further improvement of the security, and we do believe that the Pakistan government is wise and capable enough to achieve this goals. And infrastructure, particularly electricity and water, and the business environment, that's legal measures or administrative measures which should be stable and predictable. Those are the major issues which Japanese business people are always telling to me. And cultural relations, we're very much pleased to see a certain number of people are engaged with Japanese cultural activities. like karate or ikebana and others. And I should say that PJCA is playing a very, very important role, and we very much appreciate their activities. And well, defense activities, these ones we have been doing together with Pakistan. But one interesting thing is that I don't think it's enough. We should promote more. But sea security could be one of the common interests which we have between us. We do not share the border, but we are connected with a huge ocean. So I think that security on the sea could be one of the common interests between us. So now I like to tell you that I like to congratulate on ourselves, but we have had over 1,000 people, Japanese residents in Pakistan. Last year it was 900 or something, but this year more than 1,000. And I do wish that this number will grow even more. So these are just brief sketch of the present status of our relationship and what we should do. So I'm sure it's far from complete, but I'm very much pleased to give an answer if any of you have any question about this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.